The Lannister caravan to Casterly Rock did their best to avoid the western road. Lady Joanna, Lord Tyler and Osmond trotted their horses west for weeks. Osmond constantly fell asleep atop his horse as he rode all day and kept watch all night. Their path took them deeper into the Reach as they attempted to avoid the Riverlands and the Tully patrols. Water was not too difficult to find, but food was scarce. 3 days prior, Osmond taught the young Lannisters how to spearfish with a fashioned tree branch. Osmond had refused to allow a campfire as to not alert their position. Tyler initially refused the raw fish fillets, but by the second night he devoured his rations. The young Tyler laughed as Osmond showed him how to remove the eyeballs and balance them on his tongue before swallowing the delicacy. Their stomachs rumbled as they had not come across another stream as they pushed west. Osmond kept his bow at the ready, but his assumptions proved correct. A starving populace had hunted all the game in this area. The caravan had not seen as much as a rabbit this past week. Joanna continuously calmed Tyler as he complained about his stomach. Osmond refused to comment thus far on Tyler's complaints. Joanna had never felt hunger before, as she assumed Osmond had. She felt as if he appreciated the lack of complaint coming from her. She knew he must be as hungry as they were. Still, the adults never uttered a word of negativity. They bedded down for the night as their water supplies were running low. The lack of game was discouraging for multiple reasons. Not only did it keep their stomachs empty, but it proved they were not near water. First mate Osmond was well outside land he could call familiar. Joanna would welcome a predator at this point. A wolf perhaps could kiss one of Osmond's arrows. Not soon after longing to be attacked, Joanna heard Osmond stir and rise to his feet.
Oi, keep that bogan kid quiet, eh?
Joanna collected young Tyler. His stomach rumbled as she situated him on her lap and wrapped her arms around him. Osmond quietly lapped around the camp to which the Lannisters were staged at the centre. Every pass he distanced himself from the pair, slowly peering into the tree line. Without warning, torches were lit, nearly 20 in total, as Joanna realized they were surrounded. The Tullys had completed their hunt. Joanna's breath fogged around her face as her breathing was hurried with worry.
"Lower your sword, Islander,"
commanded a booming voice. The owner of the voice trotted his horse forward and came into Joanna's view. Osmond, likely realizing resistance would be painful, dropped his sword to the dry, dusty ground.
"A wise choice, my lord. Please identify yourselves."
Joanna saw no point in lying. This brigade was much larger than your typical security scouts. They already knew who they were.
Joanna Lannister, daughter of the Hand of the King. My brother Tyler Lannister, heir to Casterly Rock. And our escort, Lord Osmond of the Iron Isles. We are en route to Casterly Rock under the King's colours.
"A small host to fly the King's banner."
The elderly knight admitted, and Lady Joanna agreed.
We were set upon by a Tully force. Most of our men were killed. We just escaped with our lives.
Joanna admitted, all the while weighing the consequences of her honesty.
"We came across the bodies and tracked you here. I am Lord Baron Westerling, loyal bannerman to House Lannister."
Joanna sighed in relief, and Osmond retrieved his steel and slowly sheathed his sword. He helped Joanna to her feet, and the conversation with Lord Baron continued.
"Please allow me to be the first to welcome you to the Western Lands, my Lord of Lannister. We are camped not far from here. We have water and food. We can rest tonight, and later tomorrow we can depart for the coast. A comfortable 3-day ride."
Joanna felt relief for the first time in weeks as she stood with young Tyler on her hip. Osmond collected their few belongings as Lord Baron's men tended to Joanna's horse.
"Were you the only lady present in the King's caravan?"
Lord Baron asked intently, which Joanna thought it an odd question.
I was. Were you expecting another in my place, Lord Baron?
"Indeed I was, Lady Joanna. My daughter, Lady Rachel, was set to depart west before the fall of the capital."
These words stirred Joanna's interest, for she knew nothing of the events that transpired since she departed King's Landing.
She was offered a voyage by Lord Arryn, and rumour was they departed the capital the same day as our caravan.
Lord Baron's apprehension was now as relieved as Joanna's. Even in full armour, it seemed a weight was lifted from Lord Baron's shoulders. The Lannister horses were watered and prepared for the short trip to the Westerling camp. Osmond presented Lady Joanna with her reins and relieved her of Lord Tyler as she mounted her steed alongside Lord Baron.
I assume your daughter did not send word. Is that the reason for your detail?
Partially, milady. Tully troops have been gathering. Word had reached Lord Tyreek, and he has called all the Lannister banners for that reason. Communication from the capital has been scarce, in a word. But it appears your mother and father have survived, but countless did not.
You believe the Tullys will start the aggression?
Few are the evidence they already have, milady.
The old knight replied as their horses now pushed through the dry brush.
Lord Tyreek is most eager to hear your testimony. What he does with that information is anyone's guess.
Joanna scoffed at Lord Westerling's presumption. Her father was the head of House Lannister, Lord Tyler his heir and Joanna his regent. Surely Lord Tyreek wouldn't attempt to declare war on the Riverlands without proper authority. Lord Baron seemed to answer her unasked question.
So it wouldn't be the first time, milady. The Lannisters have burned the Riverlands before, with or without the support of the Crown.
I am well aware, my lord. Is there any further information as to the state of the capital?
Westerling took in a deep breath and seemed to be choosing his words with difficulty.
It seemed the storm gods dispensed their fury too far north. The Crownlands hasn't seen that kind of a storm for generations. Word is what the winds didn't topple. The waves had then washed away. They are receiving assistance. Soldiers from Storm's End, ships from Dawn and maesters from Old Town have all immediately departed for the capital.
And what from Casterly Rock?
Joanna asked intently, not for Westerling's words, but for his tone.
So I think you already know the answer to that, milady. Lord Tyreek believes we will need all the resources available to us, as Lord Brynden Tully might want to stretch his inexperienced, naive, youthful legs.
Westerling smiled at Joanna before providing additional clarification.
Lord Tyreek's words, not my own.
Joanna digested this news carefully prior to asking her next question.
Lord Baron, I would prefer to visit Lannisport prior to arriving at the Rock.
I understand, milady. What business is there for you, may I ask?
Lord Baron asked curtly. Joanna initially thought of being deceptive, but figured the truth had served her well thus far.
I have business with the Septon in Lannisport. A brief dialogue is all I require.
Joanna admitted to Westerling's brief smile.
You are in luck then, milady. Lord Tyreek had ordered the Septon to Casterly Rock a fortnight ago. I'm sure he would be inclined to meet you.
Lord Baron added, and Joanna's heart rose into her throat. She desperately attempted to hide her apprehension, but all words had escaped her. Lord Tyreek would only call upon the Septon to interrogate him for the same reasons Joanna had desired to. If her late grandfather, Lord Tywin, had forced the Septon to annul Lord Tyrion's marriage to Lady Tysha, it would immediately dissolve Tyrion's marriage to Lady Sansa. Thus, rendering Tyler's claim to Casterly Rock illegitimate, Lord Tyreek is playing a dangerous game. The game Lady Sansa had always warned Joanna about. She now found herself neck-deep in this game of politics and power. She just prayed that at the game's end her own head would remain attached.